We're talking about 10 principles that define excellent games and also excellent learning environments. These are the 10 principles, and they're drawn from a range of sources. And in this segment, we're focused on 4 principles that are about motivation, which is one of the key ideas that define gameful learning. The 4th principle that we're talking about is intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Now, there's a general thought in education and in the world that intrinsic motivation, which is motivation that comes from inside of you, things that you care about just naturally and that you're driven to pursue because of your love of the topic, is better than extrinsic motivation, which would be motivation that comes from outside of you, things that are driven by rewards like points or grades or money. And that may be true in a very general sense, that it's better to be intrinsically motivated than extrinsically motivated, but we actually need both. And successful games and successful learning environments have some combination of extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. We often need that external push to get started, to get us engaged to begin with, but as we go, we hope that the player or the learner becomes intrinsically motivated and starts to find their own reasons for pursuing and persisting their way through the content. Autonomy is critical, and this is the first of 3 principles that come from self-determination theory, and elsewhere in this course we go into some great depth on self-determination theory, but autonomy support is key in a game design environment and also key in a well-designed learning environment. And what we mean by autonomy support is that the player gets to make choices about what they do in the game. They could choose to go through the door on the left or go through the door on the right. They might get to choose what character they play with. That would be related to the earlier principle we talked about of identity support. But the point is, you get to make choices that matter. In classroom environments, we also want to provide support for students making choices that matter, that the path they choose lets them explore different topics, lets them explore topics at a pace that agrees with them. At the end, of course, we want to have defined what each of the students or all of the students are exploring, but by allowing students to find different ways through the topics, we can actually help many more students find their way through. And this is related to concepts that are commonly talked about today, such as personalized learning. Now, I'm not saying you have to let everybody do whatever they want as a free-for-all. Consider, for instance, what it means to get a small child dressed for school in the morning. If you say to a toddler or to a first or second grader, "What do you want to wear to school today?" That's often a disaster. What they'll say is, "Oh, I'm going to dress like a princess," or "I'm going to dress like a unicorn." But if you say, "Which do you want to wear, this outfit or this outfit?" and you provide some carefully curated autonomy, that works just as well. The idea is you've given the learner or the child or the player a meaningful choice. And by allowing them to make a choice, they are going to be more invested in what comes next. The next principle is a sense of belonging. And a really good game environment makes you feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself, or that people notice you and that they are paying attention to you, that the game actually notices you as the player and is reacting to you. This is maybe related to the sense of autonomy, certainly. But in a learning environment, it's equally important. Nobody wants to feel isolated. Nobody wants to feel alone. Nobody wants to feel ignored. So a well-designed learning environment creates that sense that you're part of a community, that you are seen, and that you are being paid attention to. That might have to do with how you give feedback as an instructor to a learner. It might have to do with how you group students or how you communicate with students. There are some things that really work against a sense of belonging in a learning environment. One of those things may be grading on the curve. It turns out that grading on the curve is really incompatible with gameful learning, and it's because it creates a sense of isolation and competition where it's every student pitted against every other student, and you're rationing outcomes. That's the opposite of what you would do to create a sense of belonging. The third principle, again, these come from self-determination theory, is to support feelings of competence. So if you think about the previous 2 ideas, autonomy and belonging, competence is closely related to those. And if we allow people to always feel like they're working at a level of challenge that's hard, but is right for them, that they can accomplish, then we will find that learners can make much greater progress through learning environments. And this is also true for games. You don't want to make a game so challenging that people get frustrated. And you don't want to make a game so easy that people get bored. This is related to principles of flow theory from Csikszentmihalyi. In this case, we want to think hard about how to match the difficulty of the learning environment or the play environment to the student where they are right now and give them things to work on that are going to challenge them, but that we and they know they can accomplish with support. This is also very much related to the idea from Vygotsky in social learning theory of the zone of proximal development. And we'll come back and talk about all these things elsewhere in this course, but to support competence is key. And together, these three principles of supporting autonomy, encouraging belonging, and supporting competence all describe a very important theory in gameful learning, which is self-determination theory. If you take one thing away from this course, it should be that encouraging autonomy, encouraging belonging, and encouraging competence and providing support for those three things is going to make your learning environment more intrinsically motivating, and learners will perform better in that kind of environment. When we come back in another segment, we're going to talk about the final three principles, which are productive failure, encouraging exploration, and how to support practice and reinforcement.